east side?
Yeah.
East side?
I'll stretch out.
I guess we're the A side today.
We're A.
Oh, you're stuck with your assignment. Good morning. Well, I feel ready for this. Congregational input form here. I want to work on that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't even leave it up there.
I go into the bathroom. I got a drink of water. I found out that maybe if with my hearing aid, I have a little thing on here. You can tick it a couple of times and it helps me hear a little better. Isn't it amazing? I mean, you realize these things so many weeks down the road, maybe you just turn up your hearing aid. And then,
How long you been wearing those things?
a long time. I just forget. You know, they are so nice, you expect them to do everything for you. And it started when I got a wonderful compliment coming in this morning from Suzanne. She said I look pretty. So, I'm ready. Anyhow, we're on Book of James, Lesson 8, entitled The Wisdom That Teachers Need. And James 3, verses 13 through 18. And that's on page, what, 35? Yeah, 35. And, I don't know how long this session will be here today because this is kind of a short, when you look at it, there's not many pages here. It's like a page, not even 2 full pages, a page and a half. And then the questions, conveniently, right next to those. So, you may get a little bit extra time this morning.
We just need to talk about
It's all according to how loquacious you are. Yeah. How much conversation we have. So, anyhow, Mr. Billingsley? I should know his name. Billingsley. Mr. Billingsley has titled this Instruction to Teachers. And in it, he discusses, and we talked a little bit about preachers, I think last week or the week before, the importance of teachers in the church. He warns against becoming a teacher for self-appreciation and caution teachers that they will be judged more strictly than others. That's what we talked about in the previous lesson. Today our lesson title is The Wisdom That Teachers Need. And in it we'll discuss the topics of wisdom and knowledge. So we've got the teacher on the agenda here again, but basically we'll talk about wisdom and knowledge today. So we'll begin by reading the 6 verses for today's lesson, James 13 through 18. And I gave that to Laura, right?
No, I have.
Who has it?
I have it.
Okay, all right. I wrote it down, but I just didn't look. Go.
Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by good conduct that his works are done in the meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter envy and self-seeking in your hearts, do not boast and lie against the truth. This wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, demonic. For where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. Now the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace.
Thank you. Okay, in our study guide, our article points out the very first paragraph of our lesson book that we focus on 2 main ideas. Those who are friends of God and those who are friends of the world. Friends of God embrace heavenly wisdom, while those who are friends of the world embrace earthly wisdom. And I even added here, heavenly wisdom means insight that comes from God rather than human thinking. Someone asked Bill Gates. Everybody know who Bill Gates is? I think everybody knows Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft. About religious faith, to which he replied, I don't have enough data on that. California student with a perfect SAT. Everybody knows what an SAT is. Perfect SAT. was asked the meaning of life, and her answer was, I have no idea. Which two of these classifications that we'll study today, earthly or heavenly, you think these two people fall under? So, Mr. Gates.
Earthly. Earthly.
Earthly. Very earthly, wouldn't you think? Do we use any of this product?
Yes.
We're using them right now.
Using it right now. Isn't it amazing? I even used it to type this thing up. Word. Very intelligent person. Melly asked me last night, she said, I'm not done with that yet. I went back and I thought, well, let's find out a little bit about Mr. Gates. Founded Microsoft in 1975 with Paul Allen. He was a billionaire at age 31. He became the first Centi billionaire, C-E-N-T-I billionaire, in 1999 when he surpassed $100 billion. That was his worth. He invented personal computer and of course Microsoft. And he continues even today. Have other ideas. He's aged since then, of course. He has the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and it's ongoing, but he and Melinda got divorced. He's no longer married to her, and he's a single guy, again. He and Warren Buffett. How many know Warren Buffett? We know that name. I think he lives in Omaha. Founded the Giving Pledge, promising to give at least 1/2 of their wealth to philanthropy. 1/2. Got $100 million. You promise that you're going to give half of that away. He's donated $100 billion in 25 years and has committed to distribute virtually all the remaining personal wealth by 2045. Assuming he's still alive. So he hadn't given it all away. That was one of the commitments he made. They asked him about religion. He said, I think it makes sense to believe in God, but what decision in your life you make differently because of it, I really don't know. He really doesn't know. What do you have to do? So he's a very intelligent guy. Made a lot of money. I'd say a very earthly individual. Today we're going to spend most of our time discussing wisdom and knowledge. Do wisdom and knowledge mean the same?
No.
Throw it out.
Well, knowledge is just that, an accumulation of basic facts. Wisdom is being able to apply that knowledge in a way that benefits other people.
I think that's good. I think it's what we studied today. Question number 3. Let's go. We'll go immediately to a question. Question number 3. Who has the answer to question number 3?
Joel.
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 That
He's
is,
answered it.
knowledge is accumulation of facts. Wisdom is the ability to use these facts to apply them. Here's some other quotations about knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom is defined as the ability to make good decisions based on knowledge and experience. Sounds like a good business answer to it. Wisdom is applied knowledge. Knowledge is proud. She has learned so much. Wisdom is humble that she knows no more. Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens. And wisdom is the application of practical knowledge, basically what Joel said. Let's go to question number 4. Question number 4. How can one obtain this knowledge?
Ask God.
Ask God. Who said that? Thank you. Ask God. And it says, Ask God and it'll implant it in the hearts of believers. In verse 13, James is relating two things to us. True wisdom produces good behavior and humility or meekness. A wise person will demonstrate his wisdom by his conduct and his humble attitude. And verses 14 and 16 through 16, James begins speaking of the kind of wisdom that must be avoided at all costs, and the kind of wisdom that would disqualify a teacher, since it is not from God, but is earthly and spiritual or natural and could be demonic. Earthly wisdom is referenced as that which is not from heaven and not from God. Of course, if it's not, it's inferior wisdom. And we don't want it. It views life from the viewpoint of the world instead of heaven's viewpoint. Unspiritual are those attitudes and thoughts that have nothing to do with God's Holy Spirit or the fruits of the Spirit. And devilish implies those who have wisdom not from above, but have it from below. They derive it from hell. Such people must be avoided, just like the devil who inspires them, and must be resisted. Back to the question. Number 7. Let's go to number 7. It says, some of the characteristics of earthly wisdom. Who wants to throw some of those out?
I will.
Okay.
Bitter jealousy, resentment, distress, and skill. Full of ambition, prideful drive, arrogant, self-important, lies, speaking or acting falsely, earthly existing on earth, natural and natural suspect in the mind of the devil.
What are those adjectives? Long time since I had these. I think these are all adjectives, aren't they? Jealousy. I have bitter jealousy. Maybe that's from a workbook. Arrogant. Lies against the truth. A selfish ambition. Envy or envious. Boasting. Any more? Adjective?
Said lying.
Lying? A liar? This would be a noun.
Which do you think Bill Gates is?
Which one?
Which do you think Bill Gates is?
I don't
No,
know.
but I'm saying.
What do we think Bill has?
Is this earthly wisdom? I mean, he's very intelligent,
Yeah.
but as far as being a Christian, he's stupid. Because, I mean, he's putting his faith in his money and, his brain, I guess you'd say.
What would we call it? Putting faith in money.
Earthly.
Greed. Earthly, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure I would say he's greedy because he's giving stuff away, which he can afford to give it, and it doesn't even ripple the pond,
Still has that little.
because the next year he's probably gonna make it all back. But it's just, a lot of these people, God said himself, it's gonna be hard for a rich man to get to heaven.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking wrong.
The problem with Gates is that he is using his money in a way that may be anti-Christian or anti-Christ or anti-God. He's doing some good things with his money, but he's also doing some evil things with his money and what he supports. And those foundations, it's unfortunately typical of philanthropic foundations that are often initiated with good intentions, even godly-based intentions. But for some reason, the people who manage those and rise to the top seem to be of the bent that they want to support things that would not be in keeping with anything much of Christian or biblical direction. The Ford Foundation started out as a really good thing, and now it supports a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
That's
Well, he thinks he has enough money to be a god. I mean, he wants to mess with the natural realm, and he wants to do his own thing.
I think
Proverbs 11:28 says, "He who trusts in his riches will fall." He's basing everything he does, his entire life, his identity, it seems, on his wealth. God doesn't see the wealth; he sees the man, right?
Well, and one didn't point out when I was reading about it, said that his early success, that he was a pretty nasty guy. He was aggressive. He did what he felt was necessary. I said before, I've not been a Christian all my life, but when I was young, I was poor, and I decided, well, how do you get rich? I don't know, and I don't know if I said rich, but how can I get more? I want more money. Never saw a lot of money. I was aggressive. I was not the nicest person in the world. And that's what I saw. I saw that. And I succeeded at it to a large extent. But I didn't have the happiness. I realized that I was going down the wrong road. Fourthly, I found out early in life. And he apparently was that type of a person. A lot of successful people are like that. You mentioned Ford. I think Henry Ford did a lot of great things, no doubt about it. I mean, look what we're driving today, not necessarily Ford, but if Henry hadn't done what he did, assembly lines and efficiencies and all of them, but Henry wasn't the nicest person in the world.
And in the description part, we were talking about, I had also written down that it causes strife and causes division. Those things.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not picking on Bill Gates.
I know. We are, but
But
I
I
brought
mean,
it
he's the example of wealth, okay?
Mhm.
And I mean, everybody looks at him and, oh, this man is rich, he's just rolling in the dough. But you know what? I think a Christian is rich. Because, I mean, God has blessed us in so many ways. And we see this. They all see the dollar sign, but we see the riches that he gives us. And, I mean, it just sounds ignorant to say, he's pitiful, but he is.
Yeah,
There's a song that is not in our songbook, but it goes, "The treasures of earth are not mine. And search on a treasure in gold." There's a treasure far greater than that, and it's the treasures of God untold, or something like that. So the only treasure that's really going to count, like I tell people, I'll tell them, and at my age, I give them 15 years maybe if we're lucky. I said, in 10 or 15 years, the only one thing that's going to count in your life is whether or not you obeyed and followed Christ. Nothing else is going to make any difference. And if Gates, with all of his billions of dollars, doesn't do that, he'll be eternally lost.
Yeah.
And the same for anybody else in any financial situation. And the lesson, or at least the scripture that we have for this morning, kind of relates to that. You go back and read that for our Sunday morning sermon service.
A few lessons down the road, we're going to have a whole topic about wealth. Being wealthy.
Well,
Some of the things you've thrown out today are
and so I'm going to speak to what you said about yourself.
Yeah.
Because there came a day that he came home from work and said, I asked him, "What are you doing home?" And he said, "I quit." And I said, you quit, you better go back and get that job. Like, you don't get to quit. And I said, what in the world? And he said, I can no longer work there and be a Christian. So he quit his job, came home, quit his job.
Well, you didn't have to stand in the soup line, did you?
No. Again.
She's still fed.
The blessing.
Wayne?
Joel's comments are profound. There's never been a man on his deathbed that wished he spent another day at the office.
Somebody had, let's see, who did I give? Romans 2:8, I think that is Rob.
That's me. That's me.
It's like in the middle of the sentence. But to those who are self-seeking and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation, and wrath.
We had an example of that, and I asked Isaac, I'm going to let him read our longest reading here today, the Epistle of John, and verses 1 through 11. So I think you got this one.
The elder to the beloved Gaius, whom I love in truth. Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers. For I rejoiced greatly when brethren came and testified of the truth that is in you, just as you walk in truth. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. Beloved, you do faithfully whatever you do for the brethren and for strangers, whom have borne witness of your love before the church. If you send them forward on their journey in a manner worthy of God, you do well. Because they went forth for his name's sake, taking nothing from the Gentiles, we therefore ought to receive such that we may become fellow workers for the truth. I wrote to the church, but Diotrephes, who loves to have the preeminence among you, does not receive us. Therefore, if I come, I will call to mind his deeds, which he does, prating against us with malicious words, and do not content with that. He himself does not receive the brethren, and forbids those who wish to, put them out of the church. Beloved, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. He who does good is of God, but he who does evil has not seen God.
What he just read to us, John is writing about Gaius or Gaius, some people call it Gaius, who was his beloved friend, leader of a church, praising him for his devotion to the gospel and commitment to the service of Christ and faithfulness to Christian beliefs. But all was not well in the church where Gaius, I said I won't say Gaius served, because there was a man of opposite nature called Diotrephes, who was full of self-serving ambition. Now, only 2 verses of this book mention him, but they speak volumes as his negative character and how he posed a contrast to Gaius in every way. He refused to acknowledge the authority of John and the church leaders and spoke against him and spread false charges. He tried to undermine the good works of others, especially of people such as Gaius, who wanted to welcome traveling evangelists into their homes and give them aid to the basics of hospitality. And he wanted to de-church everyone who disagreed with him and his theories. Now, I put this in here because James speaks of earthly wisdom and strife taking cause in the church, and its opposite of heavenly wisdom and peace and harmony it represents. And Diotrephes cares less about the well-being of the church. He only cares about his selfish ambition and agenda. And anytime a Diotrephes is present within a congregation, there will be chaos and strife, which demonstrates the lack of godly wisdom. Let's go back to our number 7 that we answered earlier. Name some of the characteristics of the earthly wisdom and give meaning of these characteristics. Don't worry about giving meaning. Let's take Diotrephes there. What's some of the things that we listed there? Jealousy, selfishness, arrogant. What's some of these adjectives here you think would describe a Diotrephes? Why would he be that way?
Selfish ambition
Selfish ambition.
and arrogant.
What kind of selfish ambition do you think he would have? What would he want? A role?
What would be important?
Pretty important.
Maybe be a good leader. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't speak to
Sounds like a good one to me.
Could be money, I guess.
Money?
And what's the joke about the earthly golden rule? He who has the gold makes the rules. I don't know where I heard that from. There's probably like
He who has the what?
the gold.
makes the rules. That's
Makes
the
the
earthly
rules.
golden rule.
Oh, okay. So he, well, I mean, that's true today. I mean, everybody bends over backwards to these rich folks, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I want some of it.
That's why you're bending over backwards. You're hoping to give you something.
You think there was envy involved in that, maybe? In John and the leaders of the church? Envy?
Jealousy?
Jealousy?
I mean, why can't I win the lottery?
We got to play it.
Well, yeah, that's true. You got to buy it.
That's coming up. Well, anyhow, like I said, whenever the Diotrephes is present within a congregation, you get chaos and strife, which demonstrates the lack of godly wisdom. So I got some additional readings here. In Proverbs, there's 3 or 4 things that are pointed out about this subject. One of them is Proverbs 15:18. And Suzanne, you have that.
Okay. A hot-tempered man stirs up dissension, but a patient man calms a quarrel.
Thank you. How about 16:28? That's Rebecca.
And that would be a forward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separated chief friends.
How about 17:14? Miss Melody.
The beginning of strife is like letting out water, so abandon the quarrel before it breaks out.
Okay. Our last one, I love this last one, 26:17.
He who passes by and meddles in a quarrel not his own is like one who takes a dog by the ears.
Okay. I have like one who takes a dog by the ears is he who passes by and meddles with strife not belonging to him. I mean, I love that. Take a dog, you know what could happen? Take a dog by the ear, you got a problem. Thank you. Believers who operate by the wisdom of God supplies do not create strife and chaos, rather they always be people who value peace. Our study guide, James, is going back to the tongue again. Talked quite a bit about this here just recently. And an uncontrolled tongue raises the question in the minds of others whether a person is a child of God or not. Strife and envy do not originate with God. Both are earthly and devil. James 3:16 says, for where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there is disorder in every evil thing. So we talked a lot about earthly wisdom. Okay, we beat that up. Now let's talk about the wisdom that true Christians possess. Especially teachers again. Heavenly wisdom. James 3:17 begins with words of wisdom that is from above is first pure. That is, it's not mingled or mixed, it's undiluted, it's original, it comes down from God, and James identifies it as such. Question number 9. Question 9 delineates the characteristics of heavenly wisdom. So let's go over some of those. We covered those of earthly. Name the characteristics of heavenly wisdom and give meaning of each. I don't think we need to do the meaning, but let's hear some of the things that were listed of a person with heavenly wisdom.
Pure,
Pure,
peaceable, gentle,
gentle,
full of mercy, good fruits,
full of mercy.
without hypocrisy.
Even my hearing aids turned up. I haven't heard all of them, but you mentioned pure, gentle, full of mercy. What was it?
Reasonable, full of
Reasonable,
mercy, good fruits,
good fruit,
unwavering,
wavering.
without hypocrisy.
Yeah. Okay. Peaceable, impartial,
If you-
sincere.
If you have heavenly wisdom, you're going to pursue that as a goal to gain eternal life.
Okay.
I think the difference, earthly wisdom is based on what we know and the theories of men, because we don't know the truth. We theorize what it could be. And then heavenly wisdom, because it comes from God, and God knows the truth, and He sees everything and knows everything, then that's something you can rely on. And when they say hypocrisy, like men rationalize their own sin to make it seem less. And God has no sin. So He doesn't rationalize anything. There's no hypocrisy. It's clear. Everything He says is pure and divine and true. I just feel like you can't put your faith in men who rationalize and only make theories, but you can put your faith in God who knows truth. And you can use that truth, pursue the scriptures, and instead of rationalizing your sins, convict yourself to fix and make yourself better.
Yeah, great.
I have a friend who is brilliant. Is now a retired vice president of IT from Arriva, or Ratatoga, a nuclear power company. And we have lunch on a fairly regular basis. And he has an engineer's mind, and he says, if you can't show it to me, then I can't believe it. And we talk about religion quite a bit. I'll say a prayer before we have lunch. In fact, he invites me to say a prayer before I have lunch. But he can't bring himself to understand the teachings of the Bible.
And that kind of goes back to Bill Gates. If you can't see it, how do I know what to believe in?
Yeah, but can he engineer a rock? Can he engineer a tree? Can he engineer the sunrise? You know, people who say they can't see God aren't looking, don't look. I mean, man can't make his creation.
But
Yes.
Bill Gates can make a hamburger.
Pardon?
But Bill Gates can make a hamburger.
It doesn't have hamburger in it.
I don't know.
So I read something about surgery the other day. If you take all of your organs out of your body to fix something, all you have to do is shove them back in, and your organs will situate themselves where they're supposed to be. You don't have to do anything except stick them back in the box and sew the box up. That just happened. That's just,
Yeah.
one of those things.
Yeah.
The moon is, 40 times closer to the earth than the sun. That just happened, and people can't see it. I mean, those are people who are willfully blind.
And want to see it.
Yes.
Yes.
They are self-seeking. It's only about them and not about, even the universe itself. The more we learn, the more it supports the Bible. Maria is very fortunate in the geology field to work with a guy who is a devout Christian. He's not a Church of Christ, but they are always millions and millions of years, this. And she doesn't have to fight against that, but the more you learn about geology, the more it supports everything the Bible says. I mean, why there are seashells on top of a mountain. Why there's this black silk line on the entire planet, the same distance from the top and the bottom. Something happened at one time across the entire planet. Gee, I wonder what it was. But the line supports it. It's like there was something. Could have been a flood, could have not been a flood, I'm not really sure. But yeah, I mean, if you refuse to see the truth, you're just willful. It's
Great example.
Have we already read from 1 Corinthians 1?
No.
Okay. That says, it talks a lot about the wisdom of the world and how God will destroy the wisdom of the wise and bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. All of these atheists, these famous atheists and philosophers who try and solve the mysteries of life, do these crazy theories like the multiverse and stuff. They're hailed as geniuses and truly wise by the world who don't know God. But we who know God, who know the truth, it's foolishness what they're doing. They're wasting their time. And in the end, their wisdom will be shown for what it is, foolishness. In the end, God will make it so. They'll realize, I guess, when it's too late, unfortunately.
Well, I think I'm getting out. I was worried we're going to be short. You're going to go a little loquaciousness. Has been wonderful this morning. So each of us is faced with a choice of kind of wisdom we'll live by. Shall it be earthly, demonic wisdom leading to chaos and destruction, or it be heavenly wisdom that's pure, peaceful, and righteousness? I think I know what all of you folks want. So anyhow, believe it or not, we've only been through 3 chapters. We've had 8 weeks of this, 3 chapters. So this concludes the first major division of the book of James, and the end of our 8th lesson. Over this period of time, we've learned the following. God tests faith with trials in our life. Remember that. God does not test faith with evil. God tests faith by His Word. God tests faith by attitudes and action in respect to persons. We studied that God tests faith by good works. God tests faith by the tongue. And James has made it very clear that genuine faith must be clear in the life of the believer. So, thank you for your attendance today. Thank you for